I am 32 years old, and honestly, my life was pretty damn good. I had everything figured out, or at least I thought I did. My name does not matter, but what matters is what happened to me. I was engaged to this woman named Emily. She was 30 at the time. We had been together for 4 years, and I proposed about a year before all this went down. We lived in a house that I owned. I bought it before Emily and I got serious. I used my savings and some inheritance money from my grandparents. It was a nice 3-bedroom place in the suburbs, nothing fancy but comfortable. Emily moved in about 2 years into our relationship. She chipped in for utilities and groceries, but the house was mine. My name was on the deed, not hers. We both understood that arrangement from day one. Emily had this ex-boyfriend named Tyler. She told me all about him when we first started dating. They were together for about 2 years before me, and it ended badly. She caught him cheating on her, not just once, but multiple times. She said it destroyed her. She talked about how much pain he caused her, and I felt bad for her. But that was ancient history, right? She was with me now. We were planning a wedding. We talked about having kids someday. I thought we had moved past all that old drama. About 6 months before everything blew up, I started noticing changes in Emily. Little things at first. She started mentioning Tyler's name more often. At first, it was innocent stuff. She said she saw one of his social media posts, or she heard something about him from a mutual friend. I did not think much of it at the time. People from the past pop up sometimes, you know? But then it kept happening, more and more. Emily started getting this weird look on her face, like she was somewhere else in her head. She spent more time on her phone, always texting or scrolling. When I asked if everything was okay, she would brush it off. She said she was stressed about work or just tired. But I could tell something was different. She was pulling away from me, and I could feel it. Then, about 3 months before the big conversation, she dropped a bomb on me. She said Tyler had reached out to her. He sent her a message apologizing for everything he did in the past. He said he was sorry, that he had changed, and he wanted to make things right. Emily told me she was surprised, but also curious. She said she wanted closure. I remember telling her that closure comes from within, not from the person who hurt you. But I did not stop her from talking to him. I trusted her. That was my first mistake. Over the next few weeks, Emily and Tyler were talking all the time. She would be on her phone late at night, texting away. Sometimes she would leave the room to take calls. When I confronted her about it, she admitted they were talking regularly. She said Tyler was being really persuasive. He told her he regretted what he did, that he was a changed man now. She started bringing up old memories they shared, trips they took together, inside jokes, all that stuff. It was like she was looking back at their relationship through rose-colored glasses. What really got to me was when she started comparing us. She would say things like, "Our life is comfortable and stable," but then she would pause and ask if comfort and stability were enough. She started talking about excitement and passion, and I knew she was thinking about Tyler when she said those things. I tried to talk to her about it. I asked her what was missing in our relationship. She would say she loved me and valued what we had, but then she would immediately contradict herself. She would say she had doubts about her feelings and her future happiness. It was clear she was confused. Or maybe she was just being pulled back into Tyler's orbit. The week before she asked for the break, she went to meet Tyler for coffee. She told me about it beforehand, acting like it was no big deal. Just an innocent meeting to get closure, she said. I told her I was not comfortable with it, especially after everything that had been happening. She went anyway. When she came back, she was distant. She barely told me anything about their conversation. All she said was that it was interesting and that Tyler had grown a lot. The tension in our house was unbearable after that. The conversation that changed everything happened on a Saturday morning. I had planned for us to spend the day together, maybe go for a hike, try to reconnect. But before we could even start, she sat me down in the living room. The same room where we had talked about our wedding plans and our future. She started by saying how much she appreciated me and the life we built together. Then she dropped the hammer. She said she was confused about her feelings. She brought up Tyler again. She said reconnecting with him had stirred up old emotions and she needed to figure things out. Then she asked for a break. Not just any break. She wanted a few weeks, maybe a month or two, to explore her connection with Tyler. She said she could stay with her sister, Melissa, or find a temporary place. During this time, she wanted to date Tyler. She wanted to see if what she was feeling was real or just nostalgia. She looked me right in the eyes and said this was not about ending things with me. She just needed space to figure out her heart before we got married. She even had the nerve to say that this exploration would make her a better partner for me in the long run. She asked for my understanding and patience. I sat there listening to her, not saying a word. Inside, I was processing what I had just heard. My fiancé wanted to pause our engagement so she could test drive a relationship with her cheating ex-boyfriend. When she finished talking, I did not argue or beg. I asked her a few questions just to make sure I understood. I said, "So you want to actively pursue a romantic and physical relationship with Tyler during this break?" She said yes. She said it was the only way she could truly know. That was all I needed to hear. I told her calmly that if she needed to explore a relationship with another man, then our relationship was over. I said I would not be a placeholder. I would not sit around waiting for her to decide between me and her cheating ex. I told her that her request showed a profound lack of respect for me and for the commitment we were supposed to make to each other. I said our engagement was over, effective immediately. She looked shocked. I think she expected me to cry or beg her to stay. She tried to backtrack. She said maybe a break was not necessary, that we could talk it through. But it was too late. The words were already out there. The trust was broken. I told her she needed to make arrangements to move her stuff out of the house. I said she should go stay with her sister like she planned. She was no longer living with me. That same afternoon, after she left the house in tears, I started taking action. I was not angry, I was just focused. The relationship was over, the future we planned was canceled, so I needed to dismantle everything. First, I called a locksmith. Within a few hours, all the locks on the house were changed. It was my house, my property. She had no legal claim to it. That weekend, I prepared the house for sale. I went through the place and boxed up Emily's personal items, clothes, toiletries, a few decorations. I packed everything neatly and put the boxes in the garage. She could come get them later. I also started decluttering and depersonalizing the house to make it ready for potential buyers. On Monday morning, I contacted a real estate agent. I told her I needed to sell the property quickly. I said I was single now and had a new job opportunity I was pursuing. That was partly true because I immediately started reaching out to my professional network for out-of-state positions. The agent was efficient. She listed the property within a few days. The market was hot, and I knew it would sell fast. At the same time, I started looking for a new job in a different state. I had been thinking about a career move for a while, and this situation gave me the push I needed. I updated my resume, contacted people in my network, and applied for positions in a city on the opposite coast. I wanted a complete change of environment, a fresh start. I also dealt with the shared cloud storage we had for photos and documents. It was full of memories from our relationship. I downloaded my own files, everything that was mine, then I deleted her access and wiped out all the shared folders. It was a digital severing, clean and final. Emily tried to contact me constantly. When she realized the locks were changed, she demanded to know why. I sent her a text message. I said our relationship was over, the house was being sold, and she needed to arrange a time to pick up her stuff. I told her to coordinate with the realtor or a friend of mine. I did not engage in any further discussion. I kept all communication purely logistical. She was furious and heartbroken. She called me heartless. She said I was being impulsive and overreacting. She insisted she was just confused and that I was making a huge mistake. I did not argue with her. My decision was made. I was done. The house got an offer within 2 weeks. It was a cash offer, slightly below asking price, but with no contingencies. I accepted it immediately. The closing was scheduled for 30 days later. During that time, Emily's attempts to contact me escalated. She called, texted, and emailed non-stop. Most of her messages I ignored. When they became abusive or too emotional, I blocked her number and email. I blocked her on all social media too. I told the realtor to handle all communication about Emily's belongings. She eventually came to pick them up with her sister Melissa. I made sure I was not there when it happened. I did not want to see her face. The house closed on schedule, about 6 weeks after Emily asked for the break. By that time, I already had a job offer in the new state. They even gave me a relocation package, which made the move easier. I sold some furniture, put the essentials in storage, and packed my car. I drove across the country to my new city. The move was fast and efficient. I found a temporary apartment, started my new job, and began building a new life. I reconnected with a couple of old friends from college who lived nearby. I focused on my work and exploring the new city. I made a conscious effort not to dwell on the past. I learned my lesson about boundaries and deal breakers. I was moving forward. 8 months have now passed since I moved. I'm settled in my new job. I found a more permanent place to live. I'm doing okay. I would not say I'm ecstatic, but I am functional and stable. My life is on a new trajectory, and I am fine with that. The reason I'm telling this story is because information has been filtering back to me about Emily's life. This information came from 2 sources. First, her sister Melissa contacted me a couple of months ago. Second, I heard things indirectly from mutual acquaintances back in my old city. According to Melissa, Emily's exploration with Tyler was a disaster. Tyler, true to form, did not change one bit. He was still seeing other women. Once Emily was available, he got what he wanted and then dumped her. He ended things with her about 2 months after she asked me for the break. Melissa said Tyler told Emily he was not ready for anything serious. He said she was too intense and her expectations were overwhelming. Just like that, he was gone. Emily found herself in a terrible position. She gave up her stable relationship with me, the house we lived in was sold. She was staying with Melissa, but that arrangement became strained. Melissa said Emily was an emotional wreck. She refused to take responsibility for her decisions. She blamed me for overreacting and Tyler for deceiving her again. She could not see that she was the one who made the choice. Emily's parents also got involved. Melissa told me that her parents were deeply disappointed in Emily. They liked me. They were looking forward to our wedding. They knew Tyler was bad news from Emily's previous relationship with him. When they learned what Emily did, that she asked for a break to be with Tyler, and that I ended the engagement and sold my house, they took my side. They told Emily she threw away a good future because of recklessness and poor judgment. They expressed their disappointment to her directly. The next piece of news was that Emily lost her job. The details were unclear, but it seemed like her personal life was affecting her work. Her performance and attendance suffered, and she was let go. So now Emily was jobless, dumped by Tyler, her relationship with her sister was strained, her parents were disappointed in her, and she had nowhere to go. She was effectively homeless, bouncing between friends' couches. Melissa reached out to me to apologize for Emily's behavior. She said her parents also wanted me to know they did not condone Emily's choices. It was a strange conversation, but I mostly just listened. I appreciated that they saw things clearly, but it did not change anything for me. Recently, the begging started. Emily has been trying to reach me through new channels. She creates new social media profiles to send me messages. She tries calling from unknown numbers. The messages that get through before I block her are full of apologies. She pleads for a second chance. She asks for help, sometimes financial, sometimes just wanting to talk. She mentions how bad her situation is and how she realizes she made a mistake. I'm not asking if I should take her back or help her. That door is closed, welded shut, and the building has been demolished. I stand by my actions. They were decisive and clear. I'm writing this down just to lay out the sequence of events and to vent. I have a strict no-contact policy, and I am sticking to it. About 3 weeks after I first shared my story, I want to give an update. I have read comments and messages from people. Many shared similar experiences or offered support. Some had questions, so I will clarify a few things. First, the house was 100% mine. I bought it years before the engagement with my own money and an inheritance. Emily's name was on no documents. She contributed to utilities and groceries like any partner would, but she had no equity or legal claim. When our engagement ended, her reason for living in my home was gone. I boxed her belongings and gave her a chance to collect them, which she did with her sister. There was no illegal eviction. The locks were changed to secure my property after the relationship ended. Second, some questioned how quickly I made my decision. The conversation where Emily asked for the break was not a brief or impulsive moment. It was the culmination of weeks of her growing distance, her reconnection with Tyler, and her doubts about our relationship. Her request was not for space to think alone, it was specifically to explore a relationship with Tyler. She explicitly said she wanted to date him and sleep with him. There was no confusion. My response was clear. I was not going to be her backup plan. Third, Melissa was the first in the family to get the full picture. Emily went to stay with her right after our final conversation. Melissa asked what happened, and Emily tried to make it seem like I overreacted to a simple request for space. But under questioning, the truth came out. Emily wanted to date Tyler. Melissa was pragmatic. She knew Tyler's history and had warned Emily about reconnecting with him. Emily's parents were told by Melissa and later by Emily herself. They sided with me for several reasons. They always liked me and saw me as stable and reliable. They knew about Tyler's past betrayals and considered him a destructive influence. Emily's decision to risk a secure future and an upcoming marriage for a chance with an untrustworthy ex was, in their eyes, terrible judgment. They did not see my actions as the cause of the problem. They saw them as a direct consequence of Emily's choice. Their disappointment was with her, not with me. Fourth, some found the speed of my actions surprising. I'm a planner. Once I make a decision, I execute it efficiently. The job search was an acceleration of something I had been considering. The housing market was active, so I priced the house for a quick sale. I wanted speed and certainty, not maximum profit. My goal was a clean and rapid break from the old life. My actions were not driven by panic, they were driven by clarity. In the weeks since I first shared this, Emily's attempts to contact me continued, but then tapered off. I had a mutual acquaintance, a former colleague I trust, relay a message to Emily. I told her there was no possibility of reconciliation, no chance for discussion, and that any further attempts to contact me would be considered harassment. I said I wished her no ill will, but her life and her problems were hers to resolve. I would not be involved. This was the only communication I initiated, even if it was indirect. I took further steps to secure my privacy. I changed my phone number, which was a hassle but necessary. I updated security settings on my accounts. I made sure all ties were thoroughly severed. About a week before my first update, I learned more details through Melissa. She provided one more unsolicited update. Tyler, after dumping Emily, made it clear to their mutual friends that Emily was too intense and living in the past. This humiliated Emily further. Her job situation did not improve. She struggled to find new employment, partly due to how she lost her previous job, and partly due to lack of focus during applications and interviews. The most significant news was that Emily briefly tried to stay with her parents. However, that arrangement failed too. Her parents provided temporary shelter, but were firm. They told Emily she needed to acknowledge her mistakes, seek professional help, and take concrete steps to rebuild her life independently. Emily reacted poorly. The friction increased, and she left their home after a few weeks. Melissa did not know where Emily was staying at that point, only that she was temporarily with an old college friend and still struggling significantly. It has now been about 6 months since my first update, making it around 7 months since I first shared my story. A lot of time has passed. My life is stabilized even more. Work is going well. I have taken on more responsibility and am involved in interesting projects. I have a good routine, made new friends, and explored the area. The new city feels like home. The events of last year feel increasingly distant. I do not dwell on Emily or the past. My focus is forward. I'm not in a new romantic relationship by choice. I'm content focusing on professional growth and personal interests. The information flow about Emily has significantly diminished. Melissa respected my request to stop updating me. I have had no direct contact from Emily or her family for several months. However, one significant piece of information did reach me indirectly about 2 months ago. It came from that same former colleague. He reached out for a professional question, and in conversation, he hesitantly shared something. He prefaced it by saying he understood if I was not interested. He told me that Emily had left the state. Apparently, after exhausting options with friends and with her family maintaining their stance, she decided to relocate. Maybe she went to live with a distant relative in another part of the country, or maybe she tried a completely fresh start where no one knew her or her recent history. He did not have precise details, only that she was no longer in our old city. This news did not evoke any strong reaction in me. It seemed like a logical, if desperate, step for someone in her position. There have been no further attempts by Emily to contact me since before my first update. My changed number and diligent blocking seem to have been effective. My life has continued moving in the direction I set. The sale of the house, the move, the new job, these were all decisions made to create a clean break and a new foundation. Those objectives have been met. This will be my final update because there is little more to say. The information stream about Emily has dried up, which is exactly what I prefer. Looking back on everything, I have learned some valuable lessons that I want to share with anyone who might find themselves in a similar situation. First, trust your gut. When I started noticing changes in Emily's behavior, when Tyler's name kept coming up, I felt something was wrong. I ignored those feelings because I wanted to trust her. I should have confronted the issue head-on much earlier. If your partner is suddenly reconnecting with an ex and acting distant, do not brush it off. Address it immediately. Second, know your boundaries and stick to them. When Emily asked for a break to explore things with Tyler, I knew instantly that was a deal breaker for me. I did not negotiate or compromise. I ended it. You have to know what you will and will not accept in a relationship. If someone crosses that line, you have to be willing to walk away, no matter how much it hurts. Third, take decisive action. Once I made my decision, I did not hesitate. I changed the locks, sold the house, found a new job, and moved across the country. I did not give myself time to second guess or wallow. I executed my plan and moved forward. When a relationship ends, especially in a situation like this, you need to act quickly to protect yourself and start your new chapter. Fourth, don't be someone's backup plan. Emily wanted me to wait around while she figured out if Tyler was better than me. That's disrespectful and shows a lack of commitment. No one should ever settle for being second choice. You deserve someone who chooses you first, every single time. Fifth, cut off contact completely. After I ended things with Emily, I blocked her on everything. I changed my number. I refused to engage with her attempts to reach out. This was crucial for my healing and moving forward. If you stay in contact, you give the other person power over you. You can't move on if you're still connected to the past. Finally, focus on yourself. After the move, I threw myself into my work, made new friends, and explored my new city. I did not immediately jump into a new relationship. I took time to rebuild my life on my own terms. That's what has made me strong and content today. To anyone reading this who is going through something similar, here's my advice. Respect yourself enough to walk away from someone who doesn't respect you. Don't wait around hoping they'll change their mind. Make a clean break. Take care of yourself and build a new life. It'll be hard at first, but you will come out stronger on the other side. Emily made her choice. She chose to gamble on a relationship with a man who had already proven he was untrustworthy. She threw away something stable and real for something exciting and fake, and she paid the price. Tyler dumped her. Her family was disappointed in her. She lost her job. She became homeless. That's karma. That's justice. I didn't cause her downfall. She caused it herself by making terrible decisions. As for me, I'm doing great. I have a good job, a nice place to live, and a bright future ahead of me. I do not regret my decision a second. I stood up for myself, and I moved on. That's exactly what I would tell anyone else to do. Life is too short to waste on people who don't value you. Know your worth, set your boundaries, and never settle for less than you deserve. That's the lesson I learned, and that's the lesson I hope others can take from my story.